my dear students. So in this class, we'll be talking about what is called as a isolable analogy. So what is called as isolable analogies, we are going to discuss in this class. So this topic has been covered through the organometallic book by Christian Eisenbruch and Albert Salzer and Elias and B.D. Gupta book. So what do you mean by isolable analogies? And basically the isolable analogies developed by the famous scientist what is called as a Ronald Hoffman. Basically, Ronald Hoffman has he is the one who proposed the isolable analysis. He proposed it based on the bonding characters of clusters. Basically, the cluster fragments like M, L, N, there is a cluster fragments. How it is bonding characters based on its frontier orbitals region by means of extending Huckel theory. That means he compared the Huckel theory as well as based on the frontier orbitals of the organometallic complex. He proposed the what he call or he developed the theory called as he developed the concept called isolable analysis. So it is basically by comparing them with the that is a organometallic fragments with them unit of the organic fragments like a methyl CH3 or CH2 or CH fragments. So when you compare isolable analysis, so for that we have to first compare the properties of the fragments. That is, you take CH3 fragments, which is if you talk about CH3, see CH3 is derived from the methane, that is CH4. CH4 is sp3 hybridization. So here also CH3 also having the basically sp3 hybridization and one orbital having the single electron, that is, or that means it is a normally when you talk about organic molecule, as per the Huckel rules or Huckel methods, if there is a 8 number of electron means it is a closed subcell. So when you talk about CH3 fragments, if you see that it has the one orbital having one hole, that is one electron less than the what is called as a completely filled closed cell configuration. Okay, so CH3 fragment is a sp3 orbitals having one hole and one orbital, that is one electron less than the 8 electron closed subcell configuration. So what Hoffman point out that any organometallic complex have any organometallic complex or any organometallic fragments with half filled orbitals. Suppose if you take that any of the fragment having half filled orbitals of sigma type, that is a sigma bonding type, then they may able to form a structure similar to what is called as a methyl group, that is CH3 group. That means any organometallic complex having the fragments which is having half filled orbitals of sigma type, they reactivity will be similar to what is called as a CH3 fragments. So what does it mean? So let's see in the next slide. So here is the example. See, if you take the CH3 fragments, when you combine two CH3 fragments, what you will get it? You will get a ethane molecules. That is C2H6 you will get it. This is the reactivity of CH3 fragments. When it's two CH3 fragments, you can combine there is a formation between the bond between the two CH3 fragment and forming the ethane can molecule can form. Same if you take that MnCO5 fragment. This is a one fragment and CH3 fragments. Since MnCO5 is a 1 electron less than the what is called as a 18 electron. So it is a similar to what is called as a CH3 fragment. So it is less than the CH3 fragment. It is similar to CH3 fragment. So its reactivity will be similar to CH3 fragment. So it can react with the CH3 and MnCO5 same way how it is CH3 and CH3 is coupled and give ethane. The same way the CH3 MnCO5 moiety can form, or this Mn can moiety you can combine with another Mn moiety, it can form the dimer molecules. So this is what we called as a isolable. That means the fragment CH3 and the fragment MnCO5 are isolable with each other. So they are represented with this symbol, that is double sided arrow with a circle in the middle. So they are all called isolable analysis. It is how they represent. Basically, to understand the isolable analysis, we should understand the molecular orbital picture of the octahedral complexes. So here is given that the molecular orbital complexes of the octahedral complexes given. For example, if you take the ML6, that is ML6, that is this is the octatal complex. You can see that ML6 complex. So in which 6 ligands, so ligands orbitals always will have the lower energy. So and it will goes to involve for the sigma bonding, and then T2G orbitals is going to be involved for the either back bonding or bi bonding, or it will be remain as a non-bonding. And when it considers the metal orbitals, we have to consider D, S and P orbitals. So you will have in the metal will have 5 D orbitals, that is subcell, and S will have 1 subcell, and P will have the 3 subcells. So overall the metal atomic orbital have the 9 atomic orbitals you will have. So in which T2G will be is a non-bonding, and there will be remaining 6 will be here above the higher energy. So this is how the molecular orbitals will form. So the T2G orbitals will be here. So when you remove one ligand, then what will happen? When you remove one ligand, you can see that there will be a sigma bonding orbitals will be 5, but then you can see there is one more molecular orbital is forming here. So this molecular orbitals what you call as a frontier molecular orbitals. That is the orbital which is next, it can accommodate the electrons. So it basically, if you see the MLs, that is D6 system. When you talk about D6 system, when you remove one ligand, you will get a orbitals with the vacant orbital. You will create one vacant orbital. If you remove two ligands, then you will get a two frontier molecular orbitals. You will get it. If you remove three ligands, you will get a three frontier molecular orbitals. You will get it. So normally the T2G, that is a T2G orbitals and frontier molecular orbitals, normally the electrons from the non-bonding metal orbitals will be occupied, whereas sigma orbitals where the electron from the ligands will be occupied. So this is how the molecular orbital for the metal ligand complex will be formed. Now how these fragments are similar to CH3 or other fragments, let's see in the next slide. So when you see here, you can see that. So as I say, the removal of one ligand from the ML6 complex, that is the octatal complex, ML6. L is a 6 ligand, so normally metal with 6 ligand will be octatal complex. It complete it what will happen? It convert a sigma bonding molecular orbital to the of the ML6 into the non-bonding frontier molecular orbitals. That is IHY of the fragment of ML5. That's what we have seen in the previous slides. So when we removed one ligand, the sigma bonding initially it was 6, but when you remove one, you can see it has become 5, and then there is a development of one non-bonding orbitals. That is called a non-bonding frontier orbitals. So when you talk about these frontier orbitals, you can see that the number of electrons or number of holes present in the frontier orbitals, basically number of holes, you can see that it depends upon the electronic configuration of the metal. For example, you take the octatal complex of D7 configuration, the metal with the D7 configuration. So when the D7 configuration metal, when you remove the one ligand, you are going to generate one frontier molecular orbital having the one electron. That means it has the, see, if you want to have closed subcell, you should have another electron also. That means it is a one hole. So this frontier orbital is a one hole, that is one electron less than the closed cell configuration. So you can see that this is analogous to the what I call as it is analogous to the CH3 fragment. See, when you talk about CH3 fragments, which is one electron less than the what I call as a closed 8 electron concept, because when you talk about organic molecules, the closed cell will be 8 electrons. That is the Huckel rules. We know that. But when you talk about organometallic, you can see that when you remove one ligands, so you will generate a one frontier molecular orbitals, and number of holes present in the frontier orbital depends upon the nature of the metal ion. Suppose if you take the D7 metal ions, you will have a one hole. So that means this is analogous to the CH3 fragments. Same way, if you take D8 configuration, you can see the two hole system. That is a two electrons are present, two holes are present. So it is a two hole system. So this is equivalent to organic fragments similar to two hole. The same way, when you remove three ligands, example is like cobalt carbonyl D9 configuration, you can see the three sigma bonding, and another three will be converted into what you call as a frontier molecular orbitals, where it has a three hole system. That means it is a 3 electrons less than the closed 18 electron configuration. So if you look into that, as I said that the orbitals T2G and psi hy, that is a frontier molecular orbitals, that is a T2G and psi hy molecular orbitals filled by non-bonding electrons of central metal atom. That is central metal atom electrons. So here T7 means 7 electrons will be occupied. D8 means here 8 electrons will be occupied. Here D9 means here 9 electrons has been occupied. This is how that the electron filling in the frontier molecular orbitals. So now what we can say is that these fragments, suppose metal organometallic fragments derived from D7 configuration with the ML5, which is analogous to what we call say methyl fragments. So when you talk about D8 configuration with the ML4, which is analogous to the what we call as CS2 fragments. Okay, so same way D9 with the ML3 fragment is analogous to CS3. That means it is a 3 holes less than the Huckel's 8 electrons closed subcell configuration, whereas ML3 will have the 3 hole system again. So we are correlate with each other. That is, we are correlating organometallic fragment with the organic fragments. That is what it's called as a isolable analysis. So one important thing is these two fragments, that is organometallic fragments and the organometallic fragment, it is not isoelectronic. They are not isoelectronic because organic fragments we will be correlate with the Huckel's 8 electron closure subcell. Organometallic will be correlate with the 18 electron. So that's why they are not isoelectronic, but their frontier molecular orbital have the symmetry properties and their energy level and shape of the frontier molecular orbitals and the electron occupying in the frontier molecular orbitals are similar. So this is what important. They are not isoelectronic. Once again I am telling that the organometallic fragments and organic fragments are not isoelectronic, but their properties, energy and shape of the frontier orbitals and the electron present in the frontier orbitals are similar. So we can see that, for example, chromium CO5 where D6 configuration. So when you talk about D6 configuration, then we have seen that it is a 2 hole 1 orbitals. Okay, because we are removing one ligands in the D6 configuration. When we remove one ligands, what we got it? We got a 1 orbital vacant, but it has a 2 holes. So when you have 2 hole means CS3 plus, that means, see, when you say CS3 fragments means it's 1 hole. When you remove additional electron from CS3, then you will get a CS3 plus. That means CS3 plus will have 2 holes, 1 orbital again. But if you take CS2 fragments, that means it is from the sp3 hybridization. Only sp3 hybridization means 4 molecular orbital will be there. Only 2 molecular orbital hydrogen will be occupied. Then remaining 2 orbitals will be empty. That means 2 hole 2 orbitals. So isolable analysis, the key point is number of holes is matter. That is, they are all equal. But see, when you talk about CS3 plus and CS2, CS3 plus is a 2 holes, 1 orbital is vacant. Whereas CS2 is a 2 hole, 2 orbitals are vacant. That is 2 hole, that is 2 electron less than the what you call as a Huckel 8 electrons rules. So isolable analysis is the key point in the number of holes, not in the number of orbitals. It doesn't bother about number of vacant orbitals. It's only bother about number of holes present in the fragments. So if there is a CrCO5 and CS3, with both are having the 2 hole means they are isolable. So it's basically whether it is 2 holes vacant in the 1 orbitals or 2 orbital doesn't matter. So it is depends upon the number of holes. Isolable analysis depends upon the number of holes. So example, you can see that if you talk about MOCO, that is molybdenum carbonate, have the 1 empty sigma orbitals. So it is basically it is a MOCO5, again it's a D6 configuration. So it is only 1 orbitals is there, but it has a 2 hole because it's a D6 configuration. You look under the figure, first figure, you can see that there is a, when you remove one ligand, that is CO is the one ligand, you will get a 1 hole, sorry, 2 hole, 1 orbital you will get it. So again this is a analogous to the what you call as a CS3, that is CS3 plus also 1 hole, sorry, 2 hole, 1 orbitals. But this MOCO5 can involve for the d pi orbitals hybridization, and it can form also 2 hole 2 orbitals, which is analogous to what we call as a CS2 fragments. So MOCO5 normally either it's analogous to CS3 plus as well as CS2. So that is what he called, Hoffman called this is a deprotonation approach. So it generally talks about that number of holes present in the organometallic fragments and number of holes present in the organic fragments, the reactivity or the structural behaviors are similar. The symmetry properties and energy and shape of the frontal lobes are similar. It is a similar, not a same. That is what the concept of isolable analysis. So here's the some of the examples of isolable analysis I have given. So when you take MnCO5 fragments, so MnCO5 is a D5 4s2 or it is called a D7 configuration. So here number of holes will be 1 and number of orbital also 1. So when there is a number of holes is 1 means it is a analogous to CS3 fragments. So that's why it can form a methyl manganese carbonyl complex. The same way the analogous organic is a ethane. So the next is Mn manganese. Next is molybdenum carbonyl MoCO5. So as I said that MoCO5, that is molybdenum carbonyl, when we remove molybdenum hexacarbonyl, when you remove one ligands, so when you remove one ligands, then you are going to generate a two hole systems. So you refer the orbital frontier molecular orbital concept of figure 2, you can see the two hole is going to create, but number of orbital will be 1. So when the number of orbital is going to 1, it will behave like a CH3 plus fragments. So that's why it's going to form the PM3MoCO6 CO5. It is analogous organic is this is the species, but it can also behave like a two hole 2 electron. When you have two hole 2 electron means it is analogous to CH2 fragments or CO fragments. CO carbonyl also will behave like that. So here it is a examples of the organic inorganic complex when it's formed. Same way if we talk about FeCO4. So FeCO4, again the FeCO4 is a two hole 2 orbital fragments, because it is a D8 configuration, that is a 3D6 4s2, so or D8 configuration. So it will have the two hole 2 orbital configuration analogous. So that is analogous to CH2 fragments. So CH2 means it is a like C2H4 where it will be, that means 2 electrons should be involved in the bonding. So the ethylene will be side on, it will overlap forming 2 electrons. So it will form like a ethylene. Same way CH2 can involve with directly bond with the two CH2 fragments and it will form cyclopropane. So these two are the organometallic and organic fragment. These are the some of the examples, other examples how the different systems can be formed. I have explained. Then finally, I like to say that, see, basically isolable analysis gives about the structural similarity and what is the reactivity similarity between organic and organometallic fragments. It talks about a structural and reactivity similarity between the organic and organometallic fragments. So it is basically joint consideration of inorganic, organic and organometallic structural behavior. But the isolable analysis never tell that when it's this fragment is forming, when it react with the other fragments, whether it is going to give the stable or unstable configuration, it doesn't tell. It doesn't talk about stability of the fragments. It only talk about a structural similarity and then reactivity of this complex. For example, FeCO4 when it react with CH2 fragment, then it like analogous to CH2 fragment. So then it can CH2 can form the ethylene. Same way FeCO4 and FeCO4 can form, but they are unstable. Whereas analogous to rhodium based complex, you can see that it can form a stable complex. So it's talk about the reactivity, but it doesn't talk about a stability. So this is what is called as a Hoffman isolable analysis or Hoffman frontier molecular orbital theory to explain about the structural and similarity of the organometallic fragments reactivity with the organic fragments. Okay, so we have so far we have covered in this online classes what is organometallic introduction, then EAN rule, that is effective atomic number rules. Then we also talk about metal metal bonding in the clusters. Then we talk about metal alkyl, metal alkene, then metal alkyne, then metal CP complex, then metal carbonyl, metal clusters. Now last we talk about a isolable analysis. Then the future class will be going to talk about what is called as a its property, especially it's how these organometallic complexes are behave as a catalytic property. and what are the different characteristics of organometallic complex. For example, when you talk about organometallic catalysts, we have organic fragments, we have the metal fragments, that is metal, and ligands are there, and what are the different types of ligands are there, how the reactivity, all the things we will be discussing in the next classes. Thank you.